Hello you guys, my name is Patty. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is gonna be a little Q&A, so I'm gonna do my makeup with you guys while I answer some questions that you asked me over on TikTok. I'm also sipping on what's left of my little cafecito. Honestly, this is most of it. It's just been kind of sitting there while I was getting situated. I have my water right here, so grab a coffee, grab a snack, grab some water, and let's just get ready together. Sorts of like chatty sit down, get ready with me's remind me so much of OG YouTubes, and I'm noticing that my part is a little wonky, and that is gonna bug me if I see that in the edit. So why don't we fix that? My hair is also a little bit darker. I don't know if you can really tell, but I get a gloss every couple of weeks. So I got my hair colored with the darker gloss. It's semi-permanent a couple of days ago. I always like a little bit more of a darker color on my hair. I think I might go back in a couple of weeks to bring in some dimension. I don't want to go like too light, but just to add a little bit more depth and dimension to my hair. So let's just get into the makeup. Let's get into these questions. I don't have a ton, but I can ramble on and on and on. And I'm like, where should I start? Because some of these are like on the deeper side. So I'm like, let's start low and slow before we really get into the life advice. And then I'll put the names of all the products that I'm using in the description. So let's start easy. I'm gonna ask, what are my big three? Okay, so first guess. Leave me your guesses in the comments. Let me know what you think I am. So my big three: Leo Sun, Leo Moon, and Virgo Rising. I think that the fact that I'm a Leo is very obvious. But also, a lot of people do think that I'm a Virgo because I feel like I portray very Virgo tendencies. I love astrology, by the way. I'm not the most knowledgeable, and in true Leo fashion, I know the most about Leos. But I learned recently that Leo moons tend to be very reserved and very quiet, and that is me to a T. So I feel like my Leo sun and my Leo moon are kind of like in direct contradiction with each other in terms of like being really quiet and reserved and also enjoying being the center of attention. And then I got two questions essentially asking me like, now that I'm not in law school anymore, will I be pursuing content creation full time? And the real answer to this is I don't know. I never thought, like, I mean, even like 2 years ago, I did not do this. I didn't start doing content creation until the tail end of my second gap year before starting law school. And so this was not something that I did at all. And I have been very fortunate, and like my consistency in posting and whatnot, and the community that I'm really grateful for that I've been able to grow has allowed me to be able to do some really cool partnerships. So I won't say no, but really I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to be doing next. I don't know what I'll be doing a month from now. I can say that I am not actively applying to jobs, and I can say that I am during this time period putting like my full effort into content creation. What I can say is that I did not leave law school to pursue content creation full time. That is the truth. But now that I'm no longer in law school, there is this interesting kind of unknown that lies in front of me. And so I don't know. I think I'm someone that in anything that I do, I give it my best effort. I give it my all. And so with that, I'm excited to see where I go next in terms of content creation. I have such a passion for creating videos. I really enjoy being able to connect with you guys through my comment section and in my DMs. Where the heck is my brush? Oh, here. I also have an immense passion for editing. I love editing so much. I went to film school, and so I learned how to edit videos in general in Adobe Premiere in high school. That's where I fell in love with filmmaking and screenwriting, and that's where I learned to edit. And like, I started trying to make YouTube videos when I was 15, and for a lot of my projects, it's just funny. I would love to one day talk to my high school film teacher about this if he remembers, but like he would get annoyed with me sometimes because for projects I would turn in what essentially would be like an outfit video, like an outfits of the week, or like spring outfit inspo, or get ready with me videos, or daily vlogs, and like he was wanting us to be submitting like narrative videos, but that was what I wanted to be doing, and that was the kind of editing that I wanted to be playing with. And so it is really interesting to see how that has actually remained such a constant in my life for the last decade. Also, even just from like me talking about it for the last couple of minutes, I see the passion in myself when I talk about these things. It is something that I really love. I never started doing this to make money. I never started doing this to receive free PR, those are incredible byproducts of what I do and like sharing what I really love. But yeah, that was kind of a long-winded answer, but I feel like a lot of people had that question. I'm someone who loves routine and being really regimented though, so I don't know how I would feel, but I will say the last 2 weeks, like since my job came to an end and I shared that I'm no longer going to law school, I've been on my routine. I've been very busy, and so I think that's just something that is part of me and my nature, my personality. So I think no matter what I do, that is something that is just a part of me. On that note, I did get a couple of questions about content creation. One of them is, I just swiped past it. So someone asked me, how did I manage content creation while being in school full time? This, I feel like, is connected to what I was just saying, is that like, I really love it. Started creating content on TikTok in December of 2022. So I had been doing it from December of 2022 through August of 2023, which is when I started school. So I was already in a routine. I already was very familiar with what it took to film a morning routine and how long it took me to film a Get Ready With Me and the different things that I would film most often. Like, I was really comfortable with them. I was really comfortable with my angles. And so that was kind of intentional. I was like, okay, I want to do this. Why don't I start doing this while I'm not in school? That way, when I am in school, it's almost second nature, and it worked out in quite that way. I also think part of it was I was not super passionate about law school, and I was very passionate about creating content. And so sometimes I would procrastinate and I would be editing when maybe I shouldn't have been. I will say at the same time, I did get very good grades. I had a pretty decent GPA. So like, I don't know, I am very much a productive procrastinator, and in retrospect, I can say that I did that a lot, but also I would wake up earlier. Let's say technically I could wake up at 5:30 and get ready on time. I would wake up at 5. So that way I could have a little bit of cushion of time to film, because even though it was pretty easy to film, set up my tripod, hit record, do my actual morning routine, it did take a little bit of time. Sometimes I would run out of space and I would need time to go through and delete stuff or different things like that. I would plan around it. So at the beginning of the week, I'll look at my week ahead and I'll kind of have an idea of the things that I want to film, at least one video that I for sure want to film each day, and then I'll do other things more spur of the moment. Less room for that during the school year. I would probably post 1 to 2 times a day. Right now I'm posting 3 to 4 times a day. Yeah, I am a very disciplined person, and I can be a little hard on myself sometimes. And so I was always just like, you know, this is the standard I have for myself. I post every day. What is it gonna take for us to post every day? But yeah, I was never posting anything that took a ton of effort. I made content around my lifestyle, and I think that's when your content is the most authentic to you, when you're sharing things that you actually do, you actually love. I was waking up at 5:30 every morning, so that's what I was sharing. I would share my minimal makeup routine before going to class. I would just make it work. My meal prep, things like that, I figured out ways to make it work. Some days I was like, I can't film today, and so I would post little carousels on TikTok, and that was a little bit less effort on my part because I wasn't having to film and edit. Some weeks were busier, some weeks weren't, and I just figured out a way to make it work. Hello, Editing Patty here. I also wanted to add, which I feel like I totally should have touched on, is that I'm someone who's very much like a habit stacker. So like sometimes I would be editing a video while walking on the treadmill during one of my workouts of the week, and I still do that. Or I would be like writing the text for a carousel post while walking on the treadmill, which again, that's just something that I do, and it helped to get things done. If I had a little bit of time before or after a class, I was probably like editing a video during a break or something like that, or responding to comments. We make time for the things that we really love, and also it was never at the expense of my academic success. So you know, you strike a balance. I think in the beginning, I was like really not sure what my schedule was. And so if you are already a content creator and you're starting school, you're starting grad school or something, or you're in school and you want to start content creation, like just give yourself some grace to like find your rhythm, and you'll figure it out. And if it's something that you end up really loving, like you'll find time to make it work. Just dropped my phone. Just dropped all the questions. I also got quite a few questions about like discipline, waking up early. I get asked about this a lot, and I will always tell people Do not expect yourself to go from 0 to 100. Do not expect yourself to go from waking up at 9 o'clock in the morning every day to waking up at 5. It's like, you know, you're just working totally against yourself if you set up that expectation, and you're setting yourself up for failure. My recommendation, if you want to start being a morning person, is do it in incremental steps. So let's say you wake up at 8 o'clock every day. For the next week or 2 weeks, try waking up at 7:30 or even 7:45. And then once it's a habit for you to wake up at 7:30, 7:45 every day, push it up a little bit. Now you're waking up at 7:15, 7 o'clock every day. And then little by little, work yourself up to whatever your goal wake up time is, if it is 5 o'clock. Also, like, 5 o'clock is really arbitrary. Maybe you're someone that works better at night. Maybe you don't need to be waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm someone that I actually learned this in college, that I work the best in the morning. I do not function well in the evening. I am tired by 9 o'clock, and I think a lot of that is because of like my body's clock at this point. But my brain just doesn't function the best in the later hours of the night. But these are habits that I built in college, and now like college sounds like, when I say college, it doesn't sound like it was that long ago, but I am turning 25 in like a week and a half, and so college was a while ago. And so I think that I myself lose sight of the fact that these are habits that I built about 7 years ago, and they're so ingrained in me. And so I want you to be realistic with yourself and meet yourself where you're at when you're trying to be a more productive person, or a morning person, or more disciplined, or establishing a new routine. A lot of the reason behind why I am the way that I am in my routines and things like that is that I also can be pretty hard on myself. I will never really like preach that. I believe in self-love and being gentle with yourself, and that's something that I've learned more recently. Actually, now that I think about it, even in high school, I would wake up early before leaving for school to work out in my garage. And so you also just have to think about, what are your priorities? One of my priorities for me is getting in daily movement. I love working out. I started lifting weights when I was 13, and it is something that now is like such a non-negotiable in my weeks. I don't work out every single day. I work out probably 3 to 4 times a week. Sometimes those workouts are just a walk, you know? And like I mentioned with the videos that I'll plan out for the week, I also plan out my workouts for the week. So I'll put like, this is the day that I'm lifting, I'm going to Pilates this day, I'm walking this day, I'm lifting this day. And I have room for flexibility because maybe I'm on my period one week and I'm just too tired to hit legs that day. I can move things around, but the time blocks are there. I honestly could talk about routine building and productivity and self-discipline for hours, and I feel like this topic could have its own video all on its own. So if you do have any specific questions about routine, healthy habits, productivity, let me know. I would love to share more videos, whether it's here or on TikTok, about that, because it's something that's really important to my daily life. But I take the promises that I make to myself very seriously, and to me, like, putting on a calendar that I'm gonna work out at 6:30 in the morning on Monday is a promise that I'm making to myself. And so I don't like letting myself down. I really don't like letting other people down. And so I think that's also what helps keep me going. And because these are things that I have practiced for so many years, they are very second nature to me. I used to be a power lifter, and so I think that's what really helped me to implement these routines and implement this sense of discipline, because those workouts were like 2-3 hours, and I was doing that while I was in college. And so I was able to fit in these really long workouts around my school schedule and my work schedule. I worked on campus for a period of time. And so now, like, okay, an hour workout, like I have time to work out for 1 hour. And during that time, like I tracked macros, like I eat intuitively now. I would not dream of tracking a calorie ever again in my life. That is behind me, and also could be an entire video all on its own. It's something that I've wanted to talk about for a while, but I know it is a delicate topic, it is a sensitive topic, and so I want to choose my words carefully, and I don't know sometimes, like, am I the person to be speaking on this? I guess that can help us segue into another question that I got. Someone asked me about my favorite snacks and my thoughts on intuitive eating, so I will briefly touch on this If talking about food, tracking, counting calories is something that's a sensitive topic for you, I will mark when I start talking about it and when I stop talking about it, so you can skip that part of the video. But I am all for intuitive eating. I stopped counting macros, and it's so crazy to me that I have not counted macros probably, I wanna say, for 2 years now. I think around the time that I started sharing on TikTok was around the time that I stopped tracking. And oh my gosh, just the amount of brain power alone that takes to be measuring your food on the scale constantly, scanning the barcodes on MyFitnessPal, inputting things on MyFitnessPal. I think there are healthy ways to do it for sure. I think that I did it for the most part in a healthy way. There were periods of my life where I don't think it was healthy. I don't think that I needed to have MyFitnessPal on my phone, and I don't think I needed to be tracking when I was 13. That breaks my heart, if I'm being honest. There were periods of time where I was just trying to, you know, eat at a maintenance while I was powerlifting or eat in a little bit of a surplus. And then there were times where I was trying to cut, probably like during the pandemic, 2020 to, I wanna say like maybe the beginning of 2022, I had quite a battle in my head with myself and body image and my weight, and I was working with nutrition coaches, constantly trying to cut. If you've ever worked with a nutrition coach, especially when you are trying to do some sort of body recomp, you're sending in pictures of yourself. And I just got so tired of it where I was like, I don't want to be so obsessed with myself and my body anymore. Like, there is so much more to life and to me than trying to look a different way. I don't even want to say necessarily be smaller, but for a lot of people, that's what it is. This constant attachment to being smaller. And I just got tired of it. And so I stopped. And I have tracked for years, you know? And so I have an idea of how much 4 ounces of chicken is. I have an idea of how much a tablespoon of peanut butter is. And I try to lose sight of that. I think now it doesn't even occur to me. And I'm really proud of myself for that. Again, I don't think that I always had a bad relationship with food, but it could have been healthier at times. And now I'm in a place where I can say I have a very healthy relationship with food. I can have candy in my room and not eat it for days in a row, and I can have a couple of pieces here and there. I think now I have a very balanced approach. I eat whatever I want. If I want dessert, I eat it. I eat a yasso bar every single night, and I eat bagels almost every single day. And like, I'm not saying that you need to be eating the way that I'm eating, but like, I know that a version of myself 5 years ago would not recognize the way that I eat now. Let's do one more serious question and then we'll move into the fun one. So one of my friends asked me, what is your approach to moments of uncertainty in life, forks in the road, decision making? I think I have to think about that. That's probably coming in response to me making the decision to leave law school. And that realization came to me so suddenly that this was not right for me. But I think that, I guess I did have to make a decision. And like I mentioned before, like I backtracked on myself for a moment there. I think that what I did that really helped me to make a decision, because I can be really indecisive, is that one, I needed to make that decision because this was like, okay, you're either gonna start school back up again or you're not. Like, you need to decide. Time is now of the essence. And it kind of like, yeah, it was a fork in the road, right? I looked at what do these two versions of my life look like? And like I've mentioned a couple of times now, I don't know what exactly I'm going to do next. So like, this is what one version of your life would look like. You know what this version looks like or will likely look like. And then there's this other kind of possibility, and just kind of like weighing the possibilities, but also knowing that I don't know. I don't actually know what each of these paths is truly going to lead to. And I think sometimes you have to take a little bit of a leap of faith. You have to trust your gut to some extent. I'm not saying to lead your whole life based off of intuition and gut feelings, but I think that a lot of times, especially in these like scary decisions, that is a lot of what you're having to go off of. And also research and speaking with people And sometimes you do need to get a second opinion. You need to ask someone like, can you be objective? What are your thoughts on XYZ? But also trusting yourself and knowing that I'm also in therapy. So I think that like being able to talk through things with a therapist has been incredibly helpful for me. And something that she helped me kind of talk through is the idea that something that came through my mind is like, what if I leave law school and I go do this other thing that I think I want to do and I don't like it? That was really scary for me. Like, what if I make this leap of faith and it doesn't seem like it was what I wanted it to be? Then what do? You pivot again, and that's okay. And like realizing that like you are able to change your life whenever you want. Had I decided to stay in law school and then it took me another year to decide this is not for me, that would have been okay too. Or maybe in a couple years from now, I decide, you know what? No, I do want to be a lawyer. I do want to go back to law school. We have the freedom to change our mind. We're not bound by any version of us that we were once before, that we said we were going to be. We have the power to change and change again and change again. And I think that's really scary. And it's also really empowering. And like knowing that, and I suppose even like arming yourself with that, I think can bring a lot of comfort if you make this choice and it isn't necessarily the right choice. I can make another choice again. So anyways, let me just like get off my soapbox. I don't know who I think I am. These are just my thoughts. These are my opinions. I am a 24-year-old woman that doesn't have all of the answers, but those are the answers I have to this point. Now, why don't we jump into a couple of the more fun, lighter questions? Okay, so next question is, what is your dream brand to work with? I think that I have a couple. Have had the opportunity to work with Say. I would love to work with Say again. I love their products. Another dream brand would be Hourglass Cosmetics. I love Hourglass Cosmetics. They have some of the best quality makeup and brushes. I think a space that I have not tapped yet because I don't make a lot of content about it, despite the fact that it's such a huge part of my life, is fitness. And like, let's just put it all out there, right? I would love to work with Lululemon, Say Beauty, Hourglass Cosmetics, Lululemon. Guys, Dave's Killer Bread. I can't live without the blueberry bagels. I've emailed them before. I've shot my shot. I didn't get a response. I don't know if I emailed the right person. So Dave's Killer Bread, if you're watching this, I would love to work together. Charlotte Tilbury. I have been using Charlotte Tilbury products since I was 15. That for me was about 10 years ago. I don't think a lot of people were using Charlotte Tilbury 10 years ago. So not to be that person, but I do think I was a little bit of a pioneer. This girl and I, we go way back. Summer Fridays and Aritzia, because I live in like the sweat fleece. Oh, and Reformation. Oh my gosh, you guys. I'm sure there's also a lot of other brands that I didn't mention, like House Labs, that I would also love to work with. I'm just kind of on the spot right now trying to think of what makes the most sense. Someone else asked me travel plans or goals. I would love to go back to Italy. That's like a goal. I have been a couple of times before. Actual travel plans right now, just Vancouver coming up soon. I really, really, really want to go to Japan. So maybe that will be in the cards for the next, I want to say 2 years. Yeah, I would love to go back to Italy or like the southern part. Matt and I also really need to go back to the Dolomites because when we went, it was just not the right time of year, so we couldn't access a lot of what we wanted to see, which is a big bummer, but we're really wanting to go back during like summertime, September. So you'll be seeing me back in the Dolomites in a couple of years for sure. I also really would love to see more national parks. I love being out in nature. I'm also a big chicken though, so like I'm scared of bears. I would love to go back to Yosemite during the summertime. Love to go back to Zion. I have been before. Yellowstone, but I'm scared of the grizzlies. So like, let me know what are some must-see national parks. Like, I want to go to all of them. I love going to Joshua Tree, but I've been there so many times, so I know I need to like go somewhere new. And believe it or not, I've never been to New York, so that's another place that's on my list. What was my first concert and then the last concert I've been to? So my first concert ever was Taylor Swift. My mom took me to the Speak Now tour. So Speak Now just holds such a special place in my heart because it was my very first concert. And then the last concert I went to, Matt and I saw Fred again at the Coliseum, and I was not really a Fred again fan before. I am a Fred again fan now. It was such a great show, and they didn't ask me, but favorite I'm not gonna pick a favorite because I have seen quite a lot of people. I've seen Blood Orange, I've seen TV Girl, Tame Impala, Beach House, Mac DeMarco, like all of the classic indie people. I've seen a lot of them, but somehow I've never seen Clairo or Faye Webster. Oh my gosh, Frank Ocean. That was like once in a lifetime. I feel so lucky to have had the opportunity to see Frank perform. I wanted to like say everyone's name, like so-and-so asked, but I don't know if everyone wants their name put on blast. So the next question, what led you back to pursuing a creative outlet like writing? Do you have any advice for individuals wanting to pursue literary mediums such as Substack? So what led me back to writing was sort of this whole like realization that I had taken the wrong turn with law school and trying to find my way back to myself, which I think I'm still doing. I think I'm a lot of the way there, but I'm still trying to reconnect with myself and also realizing that I am also a different person than I was 3 years ago. When I decided that I was going to go to law school, I told myself, you do not write anymore, you are not a writer. And I really like snatched writing away from myself as an outlet, as a passion, as a hobby even, and I just didn't let myself do it. I also didn't really let myself watch movies. I kind of took movies away too, because that was all symbolic to me of this like past life or thing that I wanted to do that I was now telling myself, we're not doing that, we're doing this. And so because we're doing this, you don't get to do that. Is that thunder? What is going on? Oh my God. It is thunder. So my advice to someone that either start this sort of like literary outlet or get back into writing as an outlet is to release the fear of it being bad. It might be bad, but like practice makes improvement, and like if you write, you're a writer. I was a writer. I am a writer. But for a long time I was like, I'm not a writer. I didn't realize that just because I did the thing that meant I am a writer. I don't know, my advice is like with anything, comparison is the thief of joy. So don't compare yourself to others and like just do it. Just write a little bit every day. I need to take this advice, and you'll become more and more comfortable with it over time. And for me, something that was always really scary was to share my writing with other people. I had to share my writing every class, basically every week with my class in my different writing classes in undergrad, which was really great, but I never let anyone in my personal life see my writing, read my writing, or anything. I have honestly been slacking on my Substack, but that was like really scary for me to share writing out with the world. But like, just do it, and you do it once, and then you kind of like let go of that fear. Okay, let's go ahead and set the face real quick because I can't talk while I do that. Lighting got a little bit funky because it's raining. I don't know what's going on out there. But I got another fun question. Where do I get my fashion inspo from? Which I think that I have a very boring style, very simple style. I really try and dress for comfort, but I also love like wearing heels. On my day-to-day though, I swear I'm always in jeans and a t-shirt and like sneakers or my Birkenstock clogs. I am very simple. I don't shop a ton. I would say some people that I really admire in terms of style are Lindsay Rem. I'll put her Instagram in the description. You probably already follow her. I've been watching her on YouTube for so long. I love her style. I love that she does a lot of like thrifting and incorporates a lot of vintage as well as like sustainable fashion. I love a Pinterest moment. So like I'll go on Pinterest and find inspiration for outfits or try and like base things off of pieces. I always have Pinterest boards for every season. So I kind of, at the beginning of each season and throughout each season, I'll kind of have like, this is kind of the vibe I want to go for. Like I said, I don't shop a ton, so like I'm not always achieving my Pinterest dreams. I also love Katie's style. You might be familiar with her as Lusterlux. Katie and Desi, like those are my girls. I swear they were like my internet big sisters. They raised me here on this website. I love her simple, like tailored style. Chloe Hayward. Love Orion's like ethereal nymph vibe. But I don't know, I just feel like the outfits that I wear on my typical day-to-day are not necessarily what a fully formed version of myself wears. And I think a lot of that is just like limitations on like what I either allow myself to buy or what I have the financial means to buy. Someone did ask me where are my favorite places to shop. So like I said, my style is very simple. That's kind of like my inspo. Maybe I'll list some other people down below and I'll have like pictures. Jeans are either Levi's or Reformation. I do have a pair of Princess Polly jeans. I don't really shop at Princess Polly that often. Levi's, Reformation. I love Reformation's pieces and I try to get things that aren't printed and feel more timeless and that I could pair with a lot of things. So more like solid tops. They have great going out tops. Aritzia. I have a few dresses from Aritzia and I live in their sweat fleece. Like in the fall and winter time, you guys, I'm just wearing a crew neck or a hoodie and jeans. Like I am not the person to be getting style inspo from. Like I'm not even trying to be self-deprecating. I also like COS. I love shoes. So like I have a ton of shoes. I love Birkenstocks. I love Onitsuka Tigers, even though you can't buy them from their website anymore. Vagabond has some really great shoes. Franco Sarto. I love getting vintage heels. So like I have a pair of vintage Dolce & Gabbana heels and a pair of vintage Dior heels. Nordstrom, I was a Nordstrom girl growing up. Mango, sometimes. I haven't shopped from Mango in like the last year, but I do have a couple of pieces from Mango. Honestly, like sometimes I'll get stuff on eBay. I recently got a couple of things from J. Crew that I really like and I've been wearing a lot. So yeah, I'm a simple gal. I try not to buy anything too trendy. I don't really shop from a lot of the trendier places because that's just like what they have is trendy pieces that will be in style now and won't be in a couple months from now. Someone also asked me where I get my jewelry. And so a lot of my jewelry is from Amazon, which I know I should be better about that, but I just posted a video on TikTok walking through all of my everyday jewelry. And 2 of these bracelets are from Amazon. One is from Majuri. These earrings are from Amazon. I wear them every single day. This ring and this ring are from Amazon. It was a gift from Matt, and then this necklace was also a gift from Matt. So yeah, a lot of my jewelry is from Amazon or it was a gift from Matt. My Amazon jewelry is linked in my storefront though, so I'll have that in my description. I'm done with my makeup, but there was a question that I was so excited to answer and I totally skipped over it. But someone asked me, what do you recommend or do I have any tips for a beginner powerlifter? She's thinking about doing a meet in December after taking the LSAT in September. And that is so exciting. Powerlifting is so fun. It is such a unique sport. I had such a blast doing it. I'll put a couple of pictures or maybe little videos of me throughout my powerlifting years. But my advice, so you said you might do a competition. My biggest piece of advice is sign up for the competition. Just sign up for it. Just sign up for it, just do it. And this will be kind of like your benchmark, you know? Have your goals, have your targets for your squat, your bench, your deadlift. But like, this is not the practice round, but in a way it is. Like, I feel like once you do your first one, it's very scary, like leading up to it. And then you do it and you realize it's not that big of a deal. It's not as scary as it feels. Bring snacks, totally bring the fun snacks on the day, but also bring things that you know are gonna sit well with your tummy. Bring like rice cakes, bring things that are really like neutral that, like I said, you know are gonna sit well, but also like feel free to bring the candy, bring the donuts, but maybe save most of that for after the meet. But yeah, my biggest piece of advice is just sign up. You won't regret it. You won't regret just doing it and it'll be a lot of fun. Your first meet will be a huge learning experience. You'll get a feeling of like what it's like to get up there and be on the platform and like, oh my gosh, it makes me want to do it all over again. But I honestly truly feel like that like powerlifting is behind me. I'm not a trainer, you know, I'm not a coach. And so beyond that, I feel like I'm not equipped to give any advice, but like as someone who has competed before, my biggest piece of advice is don't wait to sign up for your first meet, just do it. Start training, or I'm sure you're already training, so like keep up with your training, work with a good coach if you can, and like just enjoy every minute of it. Oh, I also had another question about content creation that I should have answered earlier and I totally forgot, but someone asked, how'd you start working with brands and do you have any tips and tricks on how to get started? So again, like just like with powerlifting, if you haven't started and you want to start, just start. Like if you don't just start, you're constantly going to be thinking like, oh, I want to do it. I think I want to do it. Maybe I should do it. It's never gonna be the perfect time to start something new. So if there's something that you've been thinking about, whether it's content creation, powerlifting, or something totally different, just start now. There's no time like the present to just start. I started working with brands because they just like reached out to me. I honestly don't do a lot of brand outreach. I think that's something that I can improve on. And brands started reaching out to me probably because I was consistent, I was posting, I always tag brands. I talk about the things that I truly love and use on a daily basis, weekly basis. And so I'd say just like be true to yourself and it's gonna come through in your content, and people are gonna see that and wanna be a part of your community, and you're asking specifically about brands. And so I also believe that brands will see that too and think, you know, we should reach out to her, we should work with her. So yeah, so no tips and tricks, honestly. It's just like, just start and be consistent and stay true to yourself and don't try and be anyone else. It might take a couple of tries to figure out what feels the most natural, but you'll figure it out, trial and error, and try to get a little detached from the views, because views will ebb and flow from time to time. Follower count will ebb and flow from time to time, so don't get too caught up in all of that. Of course, it's important to pay attention to those things if you're trying to grow, but don't get too lost in the sauce. And then I think this is the last question, but someone said, love your curls. Thank you, by the way. How do you make it last longer? It's not my natural hair texture. My natural hair texture is curly. And honestly, like the curls, sometimes they last 2 days, sometimes they last 3 days. I will refresh them with water and some mousse or curl cream to try and like revive it, but sometimes my hair will last like 3 or 4 days, no problem, and sometimes it's like day 2 and I'm like, we need to refresh. It's just the name of the game. But you guys, I think I answered all of the questions from that post. If you do have any other questions, let me know in the comments. I love chatting with you guys there as well. And I'll definitely do more Q&As in the future. I'll likely ask the questions on TikTok just because that's where I have the largest community. So follow me over there if you don't already. I am also active on Instagram. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video and enjoyed getting to know me a little bit more. If you did like this video, please give it a like. It helps me out a lot. If you want to see more videos like this from me, feel free to subscribe. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day or night, and I'll talk to you later.